This week I bought something to make my music sound worse, and I love it. So the other day I was listening to music on my Bluetooth speaker like I normally do. And I listen to a lot of different types of music, but the majority of my time is spent listening to oldies, anything from the 60s through the 90s. But as I was sitting there the other day, I kind of thought to myself, this speaker almost sounds too good for the music I'm listening to. And while sometimes it's great to have clean audio, there are certain songs and certain genres that just need a little more texture, you know? I thought back to when I was a kid and we were listening to 90s country on a weekend at my house. And a lot of times it was just a clock radio or a boombox set to the country station at the time. And even though it's great that I can go to Spotify and listen to any of these old songs I want to at any time, I just noticed that something was missing. It didn't feel the same. As a lot of you know, I love vintage tech and nostalgic things in general, and a while back I picked up this little radio. I just thought it was super cool. I got it for like, I don't know, maybe $5 or $10 at the flea market. And I love listening to the radio. I love the way this thing sounds. Especially something like a radio broadcast of a baseball game, there's just nothing like it. And I thought to myself, when I'm listening to some of these oldies, I wish my Bluetooth speakers sounded exactly like this vintage radio. And I thought there has to be a way for me to do this somehow, so I started looking into it, and it was actually a lot simpler than I expected. It turns out it was just as simple as buying one of these little things. This is called an FM transmitter. And what it's able to do is take any audio that you can play through a 3.5mm aux cable and transmit it into radio waves so that you can connect to it through your radio. Now, obviously, most new iPhones don't have that 3.5mm jack, so all you have to do is get a little adapter for a few bucks, just like this, and it goes from USB-C to that aux port. So you plug your phone in there, turn on whatever music you want, and play it through this. Then all you have to do is turn on this old radio and find a frequency that doesn't really have a strong radio signal as it is. You set the FM transmitter to that station, turn on your radio, change it to that station, and voila, you have it. And I know it sounds silly to want the music to sound worse, but I think sometimes the texture is the memory of some of these songs that we love. While it's nice to listen to Alan Jackson on a modern Bluetooth speaker like this, there's just something special about listening to it on the older radio and kind of taking yourself back to the time where you were originally listening to it. And for me, that was when I was a kid, hanging out at home with my family, just letting the radio play whatever, cleaning up the house, playing with my sister, whatever it may be. But that feeling is hard to replicate with modern audio equipment. And so I love this setup. I invested a little bit of money and it's just paid dividends. And another cool thing about this is it has really good range. So if you have a bunch of old radios laying around, you can essentially build kind of a mesh system throughout your entire house, where you might not want to spend thousands of dollars on a system like Sonos or something. You could just get one of these, put whatever playlist you want on Spotify, turn on a radio in each room, and then boom. You have the same song playing in every room of your house. Now, it might sound a little bit worse, but if you pick the right playlist, I think it's a little more charming and it's going to actually sound better. It's going to feel better. Now, I did something else this week too. About a year and a half ago, my family moved into this house we live in right now, and there was a lot of work to be done, and we did a lot of that early so that we could move in, but a lot of things were still kind of lingering, things that needed done that we hadn't gotten to yet. So the next project on our list was this entryway that was just blank, white, unfinished walls. There used to be some old wallpaper that we didn't like. We initially planned on putting new wallpaper on those walls, but we just never got around to it. It didn't work out the way we expected it to, so it's kind of just been sitting blank for about a year now. And my wife had a great idea that we could do something, creative and fun with the whole family to decorate that area. So we decided we were going to paint that hallway, and then we were going to let the kids paint something on one of the walls. We have 3 kids, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-month-old. So we were going to take all of their heights at this moment in time, mark off how tall they were, and allow them to draw a flower that represented them on the wall. We let them be creative and draw it however they want. They got to pick out the colors. We were going to go to Home Depot, get all the paints, and I was going to paint the flowers that they drew. And we decided we weren't going to tell them how to draw the flower. We were just going to let them do whatever they want. We thought it'd be a little more special that way, and it turned out just so cool. We don't want the kids to think their art has to be perfect, to be worthy of putting on our wall, so we just let them go for it. Now, are the flowers they drew perfect? No, but they're representative of who they are right now, and that's priceless. And it's the same idea with this radio. Does this sound perfect? No. The Sony speaker I have sounds way better, but the way listening to this feels is very similar to the way that those flowers look. It's a lot more special to me and my wife, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Now, since we're on the topic of things that feel right to you personally, let's play a couple rounds of my favorite game, Wavelength. If you haven't seen this game before, it's relatively simple. It can be a little confusing and a little controversial, but it is very fun. The first thing we do is start with a spectrum. Let's say worst fruit to best fruit. The next thing I do is spin this wheel, and then I'll reveal the cover to see where these points lie. So you'll have the chance to get either 4, 3, 2, or 0 points in any given round. My job is to secretly look where the points lie, cover the board back up, and I have to try to give you a hint that will get you to guess where the points are. And it landed right in the middle at spot 11. I would try to give you a fruit that conveyed that I was thinking of something that's kind of right in the middle. And that can mean multiple different things. And my clues and my hints are kind of up to your interpretation. So half the time people are going to love the hint I give, half the time people are going to hate it. It's all about getting on my wavelength and trying to figure out, where my mind is. So since we're in the middle, I could either give you something that I thought was basically directly in the middle of tastiness from the worst fruit to the best fruit, or maybe something that's heavily debated, something that a lot of people love and a lot of people hate, and maybe that wavelength is what you would get on to understand, oh yeah, he's talking about something in the middle here, since it's so heavily debated. It's not really my opinion versus your opinion. I'm just trying to give you a hint that gets you points. So let's play a few rounds. Round 1, we're going to go from low-paying job to high-paying job. All right, so low-paying job on this side, high-paying job on this side. My clue here is going to be doctor. So on the scale of all jobs, where do we think that doctor would fall on this scale? And it's not a concrete scientific or mathematical spectrum. It's really just a quick, fun linguistic game to see if we can get on the same page. So I'll give you a couple seconds to guess anywhere from 1 to 21 where you think doctor would lie on a pay scale. And then I'll give you a couple seconds. 3, 2, 1. So the points were at 19. I think doctor is a pretty well-known and well-respected profession, known for making a lot of money. Maybe something like tech CEO or professional athlete would be kind of a slam dunk hint for something any further to that side, but I think doctor is a really high-paying job, and most people would know that. So here's how the scoring works. If you guessed 19, you would get 4 points, 18 or 20 would get you 3 points, 17 or 21 would get you 2 points, and if you guessed anything less than 17, you get 0 points. Let's move on to the next round. Round 2, small ball, big ball. All right, my hint here is going to be a baseball. So again, you have to keep your mind open. Any ball was fair game here. Where do you think baseball would be from 1 to 21 on this scale? A few seconds here. 3, 2, 1. Baseball's generally small. It's not the smallest ball you can get, but it's definitely leaning on the small side. In our final round today, we're going to go from peaceful place to chaotic place. All right, your hint here is a middle school cafeteria during lunchtime. So again, on the grand scale of things, where do you think that lies? Does it fall more chaotic, more peaceful? Let's see if we can get on the same page here. 3, 2, 1. I think it's definitely up there on the chaotic side, but it's nothing crazy. I mean, you have a lot more options that could be way more chaotic. To me, this could go all the way up to something like an active war zone, which is obviously more chaotic than a lunchroom, even though both are chaotic depending on how you think about it. As always, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. I'm going to put some links in the description below. There's going to be a link to a Google form below where I'm taking all kinds of submissions. If you have anything you'd like to contribute to this show and the community as a whole, I would love for you to participate there. I've gotten a lot of submissions already, and I plan to incorporate those in future episodes. So if you want to be a part of one in the future, I highly encourage you to go participate there. Either way, guys, I'm happy you stopped by today. And if you like this, I'd love to have you again next time. And remember, sometimes a little static can actually make things sound better. Love you all. Take care.